Woohoo! And we're live once again on another
Hi, Gillian.
Tuesday. Ah,
Hi. Lovely to be
I,
here.
I'm so excited. So I have Katherine Ledger in the house, who is our brand storyteller today. And this is like, I'm so excited for this topic because this just is near and dear to my heart. So, Katherine, before we get stuck in, can you just go ahead and quickly introduce yourself and then we'll get chatting?
Yeah. Well, I am a business storyteller, and I don't like bland, boring, technical, very complex messages. So I help people who've got those, and I shine a light on their brilliant brand story and weave it like a golden thread through their content marketing, so it reaches the hearts and minds of the right people, and results in magnetic conversations, which result in meaningful dialogues, which get them hopefully to sales and marketing and everywhere they want to go. So it's a journey they're on, and I help them get there.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You are Glinda the Good Witch. I'm just floating in on your little bubble, and I just absolutely love it. And speaking of witches and all the fun stuff that's going on, I want to just show up what we're talking about today. So we're talking about sprinkling sparkle into our storytelling telling with wisdom from the Wizard of Oz. And this conversation is all out of the fact that one of the things that Katherine and I have in common is a passion for books and a passion for all things Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. And we just absolutely love it. Katherine's read the book and I haven't. I just realized that, but we've seen the movie, and pretty much I think everybody on the planet has seen this movie. If not, go do that right after the live today, because it's an absolutely timeless classic indeed. So, Katherine, we're talking about how to take some of this brilliant storytelling that is in the Wizard of Oz, and how do we bring it into, our own hero story, our own origin story, our brand stories when we're doing things with our business on LinkedIn. So where do we want to start with this?
Well, I think we need to get inspired by the fact that the themes in there are so universal. There's the running away from problems, which honestly, Gillian, it doesn't work. We've got to face the music. We can have what might work out as our worst day. It can actually become our best day with the right attitude if we shine a light onto it, get from the black and white to the color. We can do that. We need good friends. We need good friends to help us. We can't do it on our own, and we need to ask for help. That's a strong theme in the story. And we also need to recognize the difference between good and evil. And sometimes the villain of the piece can be us, holding ourselves back. There's always a hero in the story. There are allies. There's a mentor. There's a villain. And in this case of Wizard of Oz, there's a bit of a fraudster, which is quite an interesting character. So what we do when we tell our own stories is we step away from the hero's role and we become the mentor. Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, is wonderful person arriving in a big pink bubble. And she guides and helps her hero. So when we're talking our customer stories, we need to be the guide, and they are the hero, and they're Dorothy. And the red shoes are our product or service, the magic shoes to help them on their journey. So our service offering or our product offering to help them get where they need to go. We don't want to tell them what to do. We want to guide them where they need to go. And they've got all the answers inside themselves because they return back home, as in the story, to, they actually do have what they need inside themselves. If we can guide them to get there, then job done.
Oh, brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. And I agree with all of it. And I think we all love Dorothy. We watch The Wizard of Oz and we're her. We all identify with her, kind of going from this, she's got this problem and then she's going through these fantastic adventures. And we follow along with her because she is the hero. And probably the classic mistake, and I know I've made it, where I've done storytelling, but I'm still Dorothy. And the thing is that you're right. We have to say that when we listen to a story, we're Dorothy. But when we want to tell the story, especially for business, we want to shift and be the Glinda. We have to have the plan of, you know, we got to put those shoes on and you got to follow this yellow brick road and then you got to get to the wizard. It's like if she had, and we had talked about this earlier before we started today, if Glinda had just said, as soon as Dorothy landed, oh, see these red shoes on your feet? You can go
Yeah.
home now, just click them together. Well, first of all, it would have been a very short movie. But the second of all, she wasn't ready to believe it yet. And that's what we have with our clients, correct, Catherine? They're not ready to believe it. That's why they come to you.
No. A lot of my, probably with you as well, Gillian, is educating them to show what if the world could look different. Because in the story arc, customers have got their problems and they're held back, they're frustrated, they're annoyed, and they can't move forwards. And so we need to show them what if the world could be different if they looked at it differently through new eyes, and let us help them do that, and kind of inspire them. And it takes a little bit of time. It's not like we can just suddenly, a lot of people miss a big chunk of the story out. There's the context, there's the climax, the crisis rising to a climax, and then there's a closure and conclusion. But the biggest part is the crisis and the sort of climax, you know, when people are frustrated, they don't know what to do, and they sort of like tearing their hair out. But that bit is the bit where we need to spend a lot of attention in a story. The vulnerable bit, it's really important, because you can't suddenly just get from A to B or C without telling that bit of the story. So that's where we need to pay attention. Definitely, it's a huge part. And they don't know what the world over the other side of the story arc looks like, on the other side of the hill. They just don't know, and we need to inspire them and show them, because we've been there before. We've fallen in plenty of ditches. There's diamonds in the ditches. We've got lots of learning to share. We wear the t-shirt. We got through it, and we've got lots of lessons to share, and we can help them get through it as well. We've done it many, many times. This is a story we need to be telling. It's a powerful one.
I love it. I love it. And I think one of the things that I find very interesting about The Wizard of Oz is that Dorothy kills the witch in the first go round, where her house lands on the Wicked Witch of the East and it kills her, and they declare her a hero, but she doesn't feel like a hero because she's like, I didn't mean to do that. But then later, spoiler if you haven't watched the movie, she kills the Wicked Witch of the West, which is her villain. And the interesting thing is that she doesn't really mean to do that either, except she's busy saving the scarecrow. And she has to take action for that one, because, you know, the other one, the house just lands. But when she finally kills the Wicked Witch of the West, it's by doing something which is like throwing the water to put out the fire on the scarecrow. And I love that the water, because I'm a water baby, I'm a mermaid in my former life. It's like the elixir of life. So she's saving the scarecrow, but she's also saving everybody. She saves the whole land from the witch, which was like, wow.
Yeah, but she's such an unlikely hero. She, you know, she's not your traditional hero that comes along on a white horse to, you know, rescue the maiden. She's not that. She's a vulnerable, lovely, sweet girl. I just love her so much. And I relate to her, and we do relate to her. And that's what, you know, we'd be drawn in, because she's just an ordinary girl who wants to help people. And what better thing to do in life than help people? Definitely.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And we also, you know, you talked about the helpers, and, you know, in The Wizard of Oz, it's like you have the scarecrow, who is brains, you have the Tin Man, who is heart, and then you have the lion, who is courage. And if you think about it, those are excellent metaphors for what we need in our business, what most of us need in our business. So we might have one, but not the other two, you know, so we need that full balance. And I look to LinkedIn as, you know, who in my network, who provides that for me? Sometimes it's a person, sometimes, you know, whatever. And then also, who are those wizards, who are the tricksters, you know, you know, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain, you know, those sort of things. And there are those people that are like, I'll show you how to have incredible engagement on all your LinkedIn posts in 2 minutes flat. It's the same thing.
Yeah. That's right. And kind of like join my club. And if you aren't in there, then that's it. But, you know, but we've all got different journeys. And if we follow someone else's red, yellow brick road, get diverted from our own, these people can divert us from our why. So we stick with the right people who can encourage us and know us and walk with us. You know, that is a really important thing to do. We're not meant to do it alone. We're really not.
I love that. I love that they walk with us. So out of all of the characters, are there any that resonate for you the most besides Dorothy? We know we
Yeah.
both love Dorothy, but out of her friends and allies, is
Yeah.
there anyone that kind of comes to mind for you?
Yeah, there's the Cowardly Lion, because honestly, Gillian, you had to persuade me quite hard this time to come on LinkedIn Live. I love sharing my story, but I'm really or helping people tell stories, but I really don't like coming into the spotlight. And you know, the courageous, the Cowardly Lion, you know, he wasn't gonna try, and he said at one point, you know, please persuade me not to go and rescue Dorothy with the castle, to fellas, come on. And he just kind of did it anyway, and he was going to find his courage, and he got a medal from the Wizard of Oz, which wasn't really. But while finding it, he was actually practicing it and finding it as he was going through the journey. So he didn't have to go on a long journey to find it at the very end. You're finding it as you're going along by practicing those things that you feel you're missing. So, you know, I really do identify with him, and he's such a big cuddly thing. He really is. So yeah, I do love him. I love him. And it became the king of the forest at the end. He was amazing. What a transformation.
Absolutely. And they all have that transformation. And one of the things I love about the Cowardly Lion is that he becomes brave because he does it for Dorothy. It's like, you know, a lot of it's like, okay, I'll do it. I'm doing it for Dorothy. And I think sometimes that's the attitude we have to take of, like, I remember the first time I did a video for LinkedIn, and it was just like, I was intimidated and I was afraid to do it, but I just saw somebody else doing such a terrible job of what their message was. And I went, if I don't tell people the real story, or what I believe to be the real story, then this other person is going to get all the limelight. So I wasn't ready for the spotlight. I was just waiting for, like, maybe a little flame of a candle, you know, I just wanted a little bit. But I think sometimes it's like, if you can't do it for yourself, you do it for everyone else who could use hearing the message that you have to share.
That's right. I think because I've got a quiet voice, I kind of think it's difficult for me to get my voice out there. But as I said, it's really part of my why that I actually want to be heard, and I want other people to be heard, because there's nothing worse than having a lovely story that never gets told. And we need to be telling our stories, because, you know, the world needs to hear them. They're so inspirational.
I absolutely agree. And one thing I have to admire about you, Katherine, is your ability to write. So while you may not be comfortable, you know, on camera or in the limelight, you are an excellent storyteller with the words that you use. And that is an incredible gift that I wish I had. Everything I read from you just sweeps around my brain. And so you do float in on that little Glinda bubble for me.
Oh no, I think you're a beautiful writer. I really do. I love your writing. That last post about the black and white and the color, it's just amazing. Yeah, I really do.
And that's an example of storytelling, you know, is just talking about your own experiences from your childhood. And, you know, a lot of other people, like, just identified with that whole idea of, wow, you know, like, there was a day where some of us actually do remember black and white TV sets.
Yeah, I do.
And waiting for shows to come on once a year. But, you know, these kind of things, bringing out these stories into your life, from your life, and sharing them is sometimes a really good way to help you connect with other people. So, you know, I think that's a great part of storytelling. So, Katherine, I have to ask you, one of the things as a brand storyteller that I think the Wizard of Oz does a really good job on is it's kind of gets right in. Like, we don't know, well, why is Dorothy living in with her Auntie Em, and what happened to her parents? Like, you know, they're not her parents. She's living with them. We don't know the backstory. We never learn the backstory. And it's like, so how do we do that better with our own storytelling to, like, be like the Wizard of Oz, just get stuck right in?
Yeah, I think to sort of show that we've got a teaser about ourselves, about why we do, and a little teaser of a story. and then get in and then start to develop it, but not sort of put it all at once, because there was only a little bit of a story with Auntie Em and her uncle and the farmhands. It was only a little bit of a story, but just a little bit of teaser, and drip feed it through. Because if we try and sort of give the whole story in chapter and verse, it's just not going to work. It's going to close everyone down. So it's kind of a door opener, really. That's what's important to do. Definitely.
I like that. I like that. And I liked how in the movie you kind of see teases about what will be coming, but you don't realize it until later. So it's like, the farm hands, I forgot their names, but they all end up being the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion. Those are the farm hands. So we see that at the beginning and we see that at the end. And they're kind of using the same language that they're going to use once we're in Oz. They talk about her having a brain and getting courage and having more heart, those kind of things. So I think that's something that we can work into our stories. Put some little sparkle in at the beginning to tease us as what will come later. I love when writers do that.
It's also good to have some kind of an emotional hook, which why we feel about we do as you did in your post the other day. So it's like having that hook, which is going to get people to lean in and listen. If there's a little bit of vulnerability there in the right sort of way, then people start leaning in and listening, and something called oxytocin is released, which is called the cuddle hormone, and cortisol is the attention hormone. So basically, if we can get that going at the same time in our stories, then we're going to get people to pay attention and emotionally bond with us. So it's that some kind of emotional hook, without going overboard with a big, huge sob story, what people sometimes can be like, but just a hook to kind of tease people in and get them into your world. I mean, for me, it was this misunderstood girl who nobody would listen to. I'd go away, Dorothy, go over there, and she didn't. And basically, and the cyclone and a trigger that happened, something, the trigger to this special world that she went into. I think if we could pull some of that through our stories, it's really important. We don't have to mention Dorothy and Wizard of Oz in our stories, but we can use the framework, the story framework, which, it's I can run through that now.
I'd love that. Love that.
Yeah, it's basically, first of all, to put the context, Dorothy on the farm, growing up, not happy, looking for something that was missing and feeling disappointed, frustrated, stuck. And so we need to kind of talk about the pain points of our customers and say, this is how it is. The second part of the story arc is, what if life could look different? What if that problem that is holding the customers back, that's stuck, they can't go forwards? What if they could see the world differently, and give them a glimpse of that vision into the world of Oz that they can't see? So, get them into the world, coax them into that world. And then to sort of bring the attention back, I've been there already. I've actually stumbled many times. I've been in the ditches. I've been in the peaks and the troughs. I've been in both places, but I've learned most in the ditches. And I've come up. I've struggled up, and I've got out of there. And I know how to get out of there, and I know how to show other people how to get out there as well. So I've got the answer, and I've done it many times before. And then finally, how easy it is to work with me. If I work with you, it's going to be easy. It's going to be good. All the qualities and values that your customer's looking for. If they want kindness, that you've got it. If they want strength, if they want intellect, that you've got it. It's like, with her friends, the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Straw Man. And then just kind of the call to action in a nice, gentle way, a nice story-led way, not bam, 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 here's my product. Like, I understand you. I've done it. I've been there myself. I've got through it, and I can help you too. That's a really important way of doing it. And it is really the journey and return story, because basically, if you can show people that they've already got the knowledge inside themselves, but you're just trying to tease it out of them, then that's job done. Glinda, the good witch, was not there all the time. She only came there at certain times to help and guide. She didn't tell her what Dorothy where to go, what to do. She guided her where to go. So it's guidance, really, we're looking for. So if we can follow that kind of structure, then we can really speak to the hearts of our customers, definitely.
I love that. I love that. That's a brilliant summary. Absolutely. Boom, 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 boom. You can just see connect the dots, connect the dots. And so literally, if you were to just take all of that and then how, and then put your own slant on it, we'd all have that story that we could do, and we could publish into a video, we could make it an
Yeah.
article, we could
Yeah.
make it whatever we want. But that's really, is that called that's not your origin story. What would you call that? Your brand story?
That's
Is
the
that your
customer.
brand?
That's the customer story. If it's
Customer
your
story.
origin story, it's similar in some ways. It's like finding out, looking at what made you start out in the first place. What is your why? Going back to the beginning again, back to home, where we felt safe and where we felt good, and going back to that, the reason why we started off in the first place, and then to sort of look at how we're trying to get that message out and which kind of customers we're looking for and how we can help them best, because we've managed to get through those things ourselves and we've got the answer. And then on to the customer story. We don't want to dwell too much on our own story, because we need to see our story through the customer's eyes. It's
I love
boring to be
that.
talking about ourselves all the time. It just doesn't work.
I love that. I love that. And do you feel that we also have to paint the picture of like, if you like, what's at stake if you basically don't use my service? Like, do you feel we need to put that in the story or not?
Yeah, I think we do, but not in a fear-based way. To show that I nearly, one of my customers lost everything, and he was, hanging almost on the edge of a precipice. He'd lost his livelihood, everything, and he was helping to rescue companies who were failing. So he could actually say, I've been there before, and I've got through through that terrible time. So I think to sort of prove that we've actually gone there and worn the t-shirt and done it, I think that's really important to sort of get that message out. But strange enough, he was not happy to show that vulnerable story. He felt it was a
Mm,
sign of weakness, but it's not. It's really
mm,
not. Mm.
mm. I can see that. I can see that. And I think that's probably where a lot of us struggle with, like, how do I share something so that you can relate to me, but then you don't think less of me. So, that's probably always a bit of a dance, but
Yeah,
hey,
I think so.
eh,
Yeah,
I think we're at the end of the day, we're all human, and
yeah, yeah.
except for Jeff Young, who's Superman, but the rest of us, we're on the
Yeah,
planet.
yeah,
But even
yeah,
even Superman, was Clark Kent too. So there
yeah,
was always that. There's
yeah,
always that touch of
yeah,
vulnerability, and
yeah,
I think that vulnerability is good to share, and I think that was part of our topic of our previous live. So I encourage everybody to go back and watch that. And speaking of everybody, shall we hop over to our comments and see all the great folks that are joining us today? Speak of Superman, he's flying on by July 4th. He's flying in with an American flag
oh,
today, leading the charge. It's July 4th. It's a holiday in the United States. And Jeff is here. Greetings from the front row, Katherine and Gillian. I'm here to follow the yellow brick road. I love
oh,
that. I
thank
love
you.
that. And again, that is another marvelous metaphor, isn't it, Katherine? The yellow brick road. It's the plan. It's like, you want to work with somebody who's got a plan for you to follow. And
Yeah, that's right.
got to take those steps, got to take those steps. Mary Wu, and again, Jeff Young always beats me in the room, even on a holiday. Well, he is Superman. He is Superman. He is Superman. Okay. And again, we all love people that are just joining in at the celebration today, and the
Yeah,
celebration,
thank
the
you.
party in the comments, we love to call it. So we have Marcia, woo-hoo-hoo, ladies. So it's wonderful. I love this. You're way ahead if you have brains, heart, courage, and a home. Home is
Mm.
something I don't have because I'm a global digital nomad. But you know what? Home is where the heart is. To use another metaphor of, like, home can be your tribe. It can mean
Mhm.
so many different
Yeah,
things. So it doesn't always have to be a physical place. And,
not
you
always.
know, I
No.
love it. I love it.
Mm.
And I
Yeah,
have been a stranger in a strange land, and I knew what it was like to kind of have my home group with me in spirit and
yeah.
whatever. So I love that. I love that. We got G. Hi, all, and happy 4th of July. Love the Wizard of Oz analogy of storytelling. How fun. How fun. And Catherine, when we just mentioned the Wizard of Oz is like, the ultimate storytelling, it's very similar to Star Wars,
Yeah.
Harry Potter. Like you could pretty much
Yeah.
name most movies and you would look at it and it's like, it's the same,
It's a
it's
hero
the same
story.
format. It's the same format, right?
Yeah. There are twists, but the main was the hero story, the quest story, really. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So I love this. He says, Jeff says, sometimes our customers get attacked by the flying monkeys. So the flying monkeys. And I made an observation yesterday that I went, how come the flying monkeys had blue faces? LinkedIn blue faces.
Oh, no, I love that.
And I kind of thought, sometimes we get distracted by all the shiny objects and maybe I guess, well, what for me, flying monkeys are the shiny objects where you just get distracted in life. What are flying monkeys to you, Catherine?
Well, there can be training courses and mastermind courses and all that type of thing. They look good. I've spent a lot of money on those and I haven't actually learned that much from them. So I just think once only, it's not here tomorrow, that offer. So I've got to take it. And then afterwards I think, right, I've not actually got, what have I got for that? Not very much. So it's easy to get tempted and better to just wait another few days. The offer might be on, but it'll be back again.
Yeah. And I know that my flying monkeys are often new tools, like if I just use this new thing and it's like, oh, and it's all the rage. Everybody's using this new software. And you're just like, no, I need to stay in my own lane. I'm going to just use this one tool because at the end of the day, if I'm trying to use so many different things, they're flying around and it's awful for me. So that's my slippery slope is like the latest and greatest new tool. Everybody's doing this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all got them. Yeah.
So Annette loves the scarecrow. So you like the scarecrow. You had some stuff to say about the scarecrow earlier.
I love the scarecrow. Yeah, it's so vulnerable and all this stuff and keeps coming out all the time. Dorothy keeps putting it back in again. And then the witch is Darcy. She keeps throwing fireballs at him and horrible things. And he just kind of gets back up again and stuffs the straw back in again. It keeps going. And he's a lovable character. He's so vulnerable. He wears his heart on his sleeve, definitely. He really does. Yeah. But he gets there in the end. He gets his brains in the end. I don't know what they were. There was some strange thing the wizard did for him, but I think he had them.
He gives him a diploma, doesn't he? Give him He gives him a diploma at the end, and again,
a testimonial or something like that.
Yeah, he gives him a LinkedIn testimonial. But you think about it, and it's like each one of those characters, the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man, all have a transformation, just like Dorothy did, where in essence they already had what they were seeking from the wizard, which is again, we already have everything we need within us, but somehow we sometimes just need people to help us unlock those gifts and own them and recognize them and have confidence in them. So
that's right. So just need a little bit of encouragement.
Yep. Speaking of, he's been my Glinda. I hate to tell you that, John, but it's like John is kind of like floats in on a bubble and little John Asperian in a bubble and he floats and he's guided me by helping me feel that like he gives you the path, he tells you what to do, where to go, red shoes and all. So
I met John in Bristol. It was good. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So John says, great to see you both. It's been too long, Catherine. So that's marvelous. That's marvelous.
Oh.
I'd love to know, G says, I'd love to know who hasn't seen this movie or at least know the story behind it. And that's true. And it is one of those timeless classics and, just everybody has seen this or at least knows of it, Is there any differences, Catherine, that you'd say, go read the book because it does this? Is there any little twists?
Yeah, it is actually a violent book. I've got it here. It's there's more monsters and more, the lion's actually brave. He bites the heads off lots of like wolves and all sorts of strange creatures I've not heard of before. And there's a lot of violence in there, which doesn't come into the film, is in some ways it's missed out, but there's more monsters and creatures and crows and flying bees and all sorts. And it's but it's not as dramatic. It's not really, with all the Technicolor, and that's not. And it's a little bit gentler. But it's still, I think home is more in the film. There's no place at home. It's a lot more, reinforced, which is good, but it is different. But there's 13 other books. That is one of 14 books. I can't believe it. I didn't realize. But he wrote 14 books. That was only the first one, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So it's a bit of a brand, isn't it, that he created? It really is. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And, it was interesting. I always do a little bit of research whenever I'm doing, working on a topic with somebody, hosting a live like this. And one of the kind of little trivia things is that when it actually came out, the Wizard of Oz movie, it didn't actually do that well at the box office. Like it barely covered the cost of making it. And it was really when it went to television that it took off, because then it became this once a year thing. And of course now, I don't know, I can't do the math, but I think it came out in 1939, and it actually didn't even win the best picture.
No.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind did. And it was 2.6 million, which equates to about 70 million it cost to produce. I don't think that was all the marketing either. Just 2 weeks before the Second World War. So it was a really great timing. And basically, and I think a lot of people, it was banned in some libraries because women had too big a leadership role, apparently. And quite a few people thought that it was bad for children. The sort of messages weren't very good. And some critics actually said it was like some half-baked fruitcake or something really not nice. It did get some awful reviews. It did. The other thing that we need to be aware of was everything went wrong in that. So a lot of the cast got horrific injuries. The witch, her hat and her broomstick burnt in the chute going down. She got 2nd and 3rd degree burns. The Tin Man had aluminium in his makeup and he got skin poisoning, or started to. And and the snow was asbestos. So there was, thank you very much to all these actors that went on through. I don't think you could complain in those days, but really they did go through a lot to get that film out. So it took a long time, but when it did come out, it's just everything now. It inspires movies, comics, games, songs, everything. Everything comes back to the Wizard of Oz. It's never going to go away. Never.
Yes. It's the role model for everything. So we wouldn't have Star Wars and Harry Potter and all those other wonderful stories if we weren't following that model. It was great. So Katherine, we have reached the end of our 30 minutes. So I want to ask you, do you have any kind of like final takeaway you want to leave with?
I just want to read something out the book, which is she had silver shoes in the book, not red ones. Your silver shoes would carry over the desert, replied Glinda. If you had known their power, you could have gone back to your Auntie Em the very first day you came to this country. And that would have been, as you said earlier, such a tragedy, because there would have been no drama, no story, no learning, no transformation. And other people would have been affected as well. So it's really important to follow the call and to, set off on that journey we started out on. We have got the tools inside ourselves. It's okay to ask for help. I'm not very good at asking for help, but it is okay. So if we focus on the call, follow it, keep on going, then we can make it happen, and our customers' transformation too. It's all down to us. We just got to go on that yellow brick road of our own.
I love that. That is beautiful. And stay the course. Stay the course. It's like, don't start hopping off and doing a pink book, and a yellow one, and like stay on your yellow one. Don't go on somebody else's. Just stay on yours, and just remember, the beginning of the movie where you see it starting at the very beginning, and sometimes just the first step. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. So important.
That's right.
So important.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
been
it.
such a pleasure. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, well, I hope everybody enjoyed this today. This was just such a fun topic. I love it. I love it. And I'm encouraged myself. I'm going to go take that framework and I'm going to see how I would put my story into it. So I'm going to take you up on that challenge. Maybe we could call it the Wizard of Oz Talent Challenge or something like that. And we can all
see how you get on. Yeah. Thank you.
That would
Thank
be great. That would be great. Okay. Bye, everybody. And we'll see you back here next week. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.